The insurance summary arrived on a Tuesday, which I'd later realize was perfect timing. Nothing like discovering your wife's elaborate scheme on the same day she's executing it. I'm Kian Merrin, and I've spent 15 years adjusting insurance claims. I know fraud when I see it. What I didn't expect was finding it in my own mailbox, addressed to my own household, funded by my own premiums. 12 sessions at $400 each. Provider: Dr. Marcus Torvin, licensed therapist. The name meant nothing to me. Isla had been seeing someone for months, always on Tuesdays, always private. Therapy sessions are confidential, Kian. You should never ask about them. I respected that. Supported it, even. Marriage counseling might help us reconnect after Sophie left for college, but this wasn't couples therapy. This was individual treatment. For my wife. Billed to my insurance, without my knowledge. I sat in our kitchen, staring at the statement. Our house felt too big these days, echoing with Sophie's absence. The mortgage payments on this suburban palace were crushing us, but Isla insisted we maintain appearances. The neighbors in Millbrook Estates expected certain standards. The license number looked wrong. Too short. I pulled up the state licensing board website and entered Dr. Marcus Torvin's credentials. No results found. I tried variations. Different spellings, broader searches, nothing. The office address listed was 1247 Commerce Drive, Suite 210. I knew that strip mall. Nail salon, tax preparation service, and a mailbox store. No medical offices. My phone buzzed. Text from Isla. Running late today. Session might go longer, don't wait up for dinner. It was 1:30 p.m., her Tuesday appointment. I grabbed my keys. The Bellamy Hotel sat 15 minutes from our house, a mid-tier business establishment that catered to traveling salespeople and discreet affairs. I'd driven past it thousands of times without giving it much thought. Now I sat in their parking lot, engine running, watching the entrance. Isla's silver Lexus was parked near the side entrance. I recognized the dent in her rear bumper from last month's grocery store incident. At 2:15, she emerged from the lobby, not alone. The man beside her was tall, well-dressed, maybe mid-40s. They walked close together, his hand resting on her lower back. At her car, he leaned in for what definitely wasn't a therapeutic goodbye. I waited until they separated before following him to his vehicle. Black BMW, vanity plate, Pharma 1, pharmaceutical sales, most likely. I memorized the license number and drove home. Back in my kitchen, I spread the insurance statements across our granite countertop. 12 sessions, dating back 18 months. I cross-referenced them with our credit card statements. The pattern emerged immediately, every Tuesday, every single one. While Isla was supposedly in therapy, our joint credit card showed charges at the Bellamy Hotel. Room service, parking validation, mini bar purchases. My wife wasn't getting therapy. She was getting a room. The doorbell rang. I swept the papers into a drawer and opened the door to find Mrs. Wilkins from next door, holding a casserole dish. "Thought you might enjoy some homemade lasagna," she said, peering past me into the house. "Isla's car wasn't here earlier. Everything all right?" "She's at therapy," I said, accepting the dish. "Tuesdays are her standing appointment." "Oh, how wonderful. Mental health is so important. My Harold sees someone for his anxiety. Very helpful." She lingered, clearly fishing for more information. "Is she seeing someone local?" "Dr. Marcus Torvin," I said, watching her face. "Do you know him?" "Can't say I do. But there are so many practitioners these days. Well, I hope she's finding it beneficial." After she left, I returned to my research. The DEA registry showed no Marcus Torvin with prescribing authority. Professional association databases came up empty. Even Google produced nothing beyond generic therapy advice articles. Dr. Marcus Torvin didn't exist, but Cedric Fallon did. The BMW's registration led me to his real identity. Pharmaceutical sales representative for Meridian Dynamics, married to Jennifer Fallon. 2 children, Emma, 16, and Tyler, 14. They lived in Oakwood Heights, the expensive subdivision across town. His company bio mentioned a specialty in psychiatric medications and a territory covering 3 states. He'd been with Meridian for 12 years, consistently ranking in their top 10% for sales. The timeline fit perfectly. Meridian had sponsored a healthcare conference in Phoenix 18 months ago. Isla's company, Consolidated Benefits, had sent their entire HR team. She'd come back energized, talking about new industry connections and professional development opportunities. Apparently, she'd developed more than her professional skills. I pulled up Cedric's social media profiles, family photos at ski resorts and beach vacations. His wife looked happy, proud. The kids were typical teenagers, all braces and sports uniforms. They had no idea their father was funding hotel rooms with someone else's insurance money, because that's what this was. Fraud. Healthcare fraud, to be specific. Federal crime. 10 years maximum sentence, substantial fines, permanent professional destruction. Isla had created a fictional therapist, submitted false claims, and collected insurance payments for services that never happened. The money went somewhere. I'd need to trace those reimbursement checks. My phone rang. Isla. Hi, honey. Just finished up. Productive session today. Dr. Torvin thinks I'm making real progress. That's great, I said. What kind of progress? You know I can't discuss specifics, patient confidentiality, but I feel like I'm gaining clarity about what I want from life. I'm sure you are. I'll be home soon. Maybe we can talk tonight. Really talk. Looking forward to it. She hung up. I stared at the phone, processing the casual lies, the practiced deception, the complete absence of guilt in her voice. 18 months of this, 72 Tuesday afternoons, almost $30,000 in fraudulent claims. I opened my laptop and began documenting everything. Screenshots of the insurance statements, photos of the credit card charges, Cedric's registration information, the fake office address, the non-existent license number. My brother Archer worked insurance fraud investigation for the state. One phone call would trigger an official inquiry. The insurance company would freeze the account, demand documentation, and discover the scheme within hours. But I didn't call Archer. Not yet. Instead, I sat in our kitchen, surrounded by evidence of my wife's betrayal, and planned my next move. Because this wasn't just about insurance fraud anymore. This was about 18 months of lies, manipulation, and calculated deception. Isla wanted clarity about what she wanted from life. I was about to provide some. The garage door opener rumbled. Her Lexus pulled into the driveway. I slid the laptop closed and started dinner, humming softly to myself. She came through the kitchen door looking refreshed, almost glowing. Her hair was slightly mussed, lipstick gone. She kissed my cheek and moved to the refrigerator. "How was your day?" she asked, pulling out a bottle of wine. "Routine. Processed some claims, caught up on paperwork, the usual." I stirred the pasta sauce. "How about you? Besides therapy, I mean." "Busy day at the office. We're implementing new HR protocols, lots of training sessions." She poured wine for both of us. "Dr. Torvin thinks the stress might be affecting my emotional availability." "Emotional availability?" "For our relationship. He thinks I might be unconsciously creating distance because of work pressure." I accepted the wine glass, marveling at her performance, the concerned expression, the therapeutic jargon, the implication that her behavior was somehow involuntary. "What does he suggest?" "More individual work before we consider couples counseling. He wants to address my underlying issues first." "How much more individual work?" "Hard to say. These things take time. Maybe another 6 months, possibly longer. 6 more months of Tuesday hotel visits. 6 more months of fraudulent insurance claims. 6 more months of lies over dinner." "Whatever you need," I said, raising my glass, "to your emotional availability." We clinked glasses. She smiled, relaxed now, probably thinking she'd successfully managed another Tuesday transition. After dinner, we watched television in our living room. Isla curled against my shoulder, occasionally commenting on the show. Normal married couple behavior, except for the elaborate criminal conspiracy she'd been operating for 18 months. At 10 p.m., she went upstairs for her bath. I returned to my laptop and continued building my case file. The insurance company's website allowed me to track claim payments. Each of Dr. Torvin's invoices had been promptly processed and paid. The reimbursement checks went to a business account at First National Bank, registered to Torvin Therapeutic Services, LLC. The LLC registration was public record. Filed 14 months ago in Isla's maiden name, Isla Catherine Brennan. The business address matched the mailbox store on Commerce Drive. She'd created an entire fictional therapy practice. Fake credentials, fake office, fake treatment records. The insurance company had paid out $28,800 to date. My phone buzzed with a text from Sophie. "Mom says you're being supportive about her therapy. Proud of you, Dad. Marriage takes work." Our daughter was a junior at State University, majoring in psychology. Isla had clearly been managing the narrative there too, positioning herself as the proactive spouse seeking professional help while I played the supportive husband. I wondered what other stories Isla had been telling, what other relationships she'd been managing with carefully crafted lies. The bathwater stopped running upstairs. Soon, Isla would emerge in her robe, hair wrapped in a towel, ready for our normal evening routine. She'd check her phone, maybe read for a while, then suggest we head to bed. Tomorrow would be Wednesday. A normal day in our normal life, built on a foundation of systematic deception and federal crimes. But first, I had some phone calls to make. Wednesday morning arrived gray and cold, typical November weather for our part of Ohio. Isla left for work at her usual time, coffee mug in hand, briefcase over her shoulder. She kissed my cheek and reminded me about dinner plans with the Hendersons on Friday. "Don't forget to pick up the wine," she said. "Jennifer specifically requested that Pinot Noir we brought last time." "Already on my list," I lied. After her Lexus disappeared down Millbrook Drive, I called in sick to work and began my real investigation. First stop, the mailbox store on Commerce Drive. The clerk, a tired-looking woman in her 50s, initially claimed privacy policies prevented her from discussing customers. $20 and a story about serving legal papers changed her perspective. "Box 210 is rented to Torvin Therapeutic," she confirmed, checking her computer. "Paid through next April. We forward everything to a residential address." She wrote down Isla's information on a scrap of paper, our home address, our phone number. The credit card on file was our joint account. "Does anyone ever come in to check the box?" "Lady comes by monthly. Blonde, drives a fancy car, always very polite." "Anyone else?" "Nope. Just her." My next stop was First National Bank. I couldn't access the Torvin Therapeutic account directly, but I could observe. I parked across the street and waited. At 11:30 a.m., Hazel Trevon pulled into the parking lot. Hazel was Isla's closest friend, her maid of honor at our wedding, Sophie's godmother. She worked as a receptionist at a law firm downtown and had notary credentials. Every few months, she'd come to our house for wine and gossip sessions that lasted until midnight. I watched her enter the bank carrying a manila envelope. She emerged 20 minutes later, empty-handed. Interesting. I followed her to her apartment complex, a modest development near the university. Her unit was on the second floor, accessible by external stairs. The parking lot was nearly empty. Most residents were at work or school. I waited until she left for lunch, then approached her door. The lock was standard residential grade, easily bypassed with tools I'd learned to use during my insurance investigation training. Sometimes you need to examine a property without waiting for permission. Her apartment was cluttered but clean. Stacks of legal documents covered her dining table. Her computer was password protected, but she'd left a notebook open beside it. The notebook contained detailed records, dates, amounts, account numbers, insurance claim submissions, and payment confirmations. A complete log of the Torvin Therapeutic fraud, written in Hazel's careful handwriting. More interesting were the printed emails, correspondence between Hazel and Isla, discussing the scheme's logistics, references to C and his contribution to their project, mentions of expanding the operation to include other fictional providers. This wasn't just about Isla's affair. This was an organized fraud ring, with Hazel serving as the administrative coordinator. I photographed everything with my phone, then searched her bedroom. In the closet behind winter coats, I found a fireproof box, unlocked. Inside, notarized documents establishing Torvin Therapeutic Services, forged credentials for Dr. Marcus Torvin, bank signature cards, insurance provider applications, everything needed to create a fictional medical practice. Also in the box, similar documents for 2 other fake practices: Dr. Rebecca Martinez, licensed counselor, Dr. James Patterson, psychiatric nurse practitioner. Neither existed in any legitimate database. Hazel wasn't just helping Isla commit fraud, she was running a professional document forgery operation. My phone buzzed. Text from Isla. Lunch meeting running long. Might be late tonight. Don't wait dinner. I photographed the remaining documents and left Hazel's apartment exactly as I'd found it. Back home, I called Archer. Insurance fraud investigation. This is Archer Merrin. It's Kian. I need a favor. What kind of favor? The unofficial kind. I've got a situation. Archer had been investigating insurance fraud for 8 years after leaving the police force. He was thorough, ethical, and completely loyal to family. He was also divorced, bitter about his ex-wife's infidelity, and sympathetic to marital problems. Meet me at Murphy's Pub, he said. 1 hour. Murphy's was a cop bar, dark and quiet even in the afternoon. Archer was waiting in a corner booth, nursing a coffee and reading case files. You look terrible, he said as I sat down. Thanks. I feel worse. I laid out the entire situation, the insurance statements, the fake therapist, the hotel receipts, the affair. Archer listened without interrupting, occasionally taking notes. How long has this been going on? 18 months minimum. Maybe longer. And you're sure about the fraud? I showed him the photographs from Hazel's apartment, the forged documents, the fake credentials, the bank records. He studied them carefully. This is federal territory. Healthcare fraud, wire fraud, mail fraud. We're talking serious prison time. What's the process? I file a report with my supervisor. She contacts the FBI. They open an investigation, probably bring in postal inspectors. Your wife and her friends get arrested within a week. And then? Federal prosecution, plea bargains, or trial. Either way, they're finished. Professionally, financially, personally. I stared at my untouched beer. What if I wanted to handle this differently? Differently how? What if I wanted them to sweat first? Really understand what they've done before the hammer falls? Archer leaned back in his booth. You want revenge. I want justice. On my terms. Kian, these people committed federal crimes. Against you specifically. You don't owe them anything. I know. But I've been thinking about this all day. If I just turn them in, they become victims of the system. Poor Isla, caught up in something beyond her control. Poor Hazel, just trying to help a friend. They'll hire lawyers, blame each other, maybe even blame me. So I want them to confess. Publicly. Completely. I want everyone to know exactly what they did and why they did it. Archer studied my face. You've got a plan. Beginning of one, but I need your help. What kind of help? Information, background checks, maybe some unofficial surveillance. And in exchange? When I'm finished, I hand you a complete case file. Everything documented, all evidence preserved. Clean prosecution, guaranteed convictions. Archer was quiet for several minutes, thinking it through. How long do you need? 2 weeks, maybe 3. And you won't do anything illegal? Nothing that would compromise your case. Or dangerous. I'm an insurance adjuster, not a vigilante. I investigate things for a living. He finished his coffee. What do you need first? Complete background on Cedric Fallon. Employment history, financial records, travel patterns. I want to know everything about this guy. Give me 48 hours. And Archer, this stays between us until I'm ready. Understood. But Kian? When this is over, these people are going to prison. Don't forget that. I drove home through our suburban neighborhood, past perfectly maintained lawns and expensive cars in every driveway. Millbrook Estates represented success, stability, the American dream achieved through hard work and responsible choices. What a joke. Isla's Lexus was in the garage when I arrived. She was in the kitchen preparing what looked like an elaborate dinner. Candles on the table, wine breathing on the counter. "Surprise," she said, kissing me hello. "I canceled my meeting. Thought we could have a romantic evening." "What's the occasion? Do I need an occasion to appreciate my husband?" She was wearing the blue dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. Her hair was styled, makeup perfect. She looked beautiful, radiant even. "Dr. Torvin thinks I should focus more on our relationship," she continued. "Make sure you feel valued and appreciated." That's thoughtful of him. He's very insightful. I'm lucky to have found such a skilled therapist. We ate dinner by candlelight, talking about Sophie's classes, my work projects, her HR initiatives. Normal conversation between a married couple, except for the elaborate criminal conspiracy she was operating with her best friend and lover. "Kian," she said as we finished dessert, "I want you to know how much I appreciate your support. These therapy sessions aren't easy, but they're helping me become a better person." "Better how?" "More honest, more authentic. Dr. Torvin says I've been living behind masks, showing people what they expect to see instead of who I really am." I nearly choked on my wine. "And he's helping you remove these masks?" "Exactly. It's liberating, actually, being completely truthful about my feelings and desires." "I can imagine. He thinks you and I should plan a special weekend together, reconnect physically and emotionally." "Where does he suggest?" "Somewhere romantic. Maybe that bed and breakfast in Vermont we talked about. The one that costs $800 a night? Money isn't everything, Kian. Our marriage is worth the investment." Our marriage. Built on 18 months of systematic lies and federal crimes. "You're right," I said. "Let me check our calendar." That night, Isla was particularly affectionate. She initiated intimacy with an enthusiasm I hadn't seen in years. Afterward, she curled against my chest and talked about our future together. "I feel like we're entering a new phase," she said. "More mature, more honest." Definitely more honest. Dr. Torvin says couples who weather difficult periods emerge stronger. "What difficult periods?" "You know, Sophie leaving for college, work stress, the normal challenges of long-term marriage." "Of course." She fell asleep in my arms, breathing peacefully. I stared at the ceiling, processing the evening's performance. The romantic dinner, the therapeutic insights, the passionate reconciliation. Tomorrow was Thursday. One day until her next session with Dr. Marcus Torvin. I had work to do. Thursday morning brought rain and the first real taste of winter. Isla left early for a breakfast meeting with her team, kissing me goodbye and promising to pick up groceries on her way home. "Don't forget we need wine for the Hendersons tomorrow," she called from the garage. "Already handled," I called back, which was true. I'd bought wine, just not for dinner with the neighbors. Archer called at 9 a.m. "I've got your information on Cedric Fallon. Can you meet?" "Where?" "My office. Come alone." The State Insurance Fraud Division occupied 2 floors of a downtown office building, all fluorescent lights and government-issued furniture. Archer's cubicle was organized chaos, case files, computer printouts, and coffee-stained reports covering every surface. "Cedric Michael Fallon," he began, opening a thick folder. "Age 43, married 16 years, 2 kids. Clean record, good credit, steady employment." Sounds boring. Gets more interesting. His pharmaceutical territory includes 3 states, requires extensive travel. Hotel receipts show he's been in our area twice monthly for the past 2 years. Business meetings? That's what his expense reports claim, but I cross-referenced his client list. He has exactly 2 customers in this region, both requiring maybe 4 visits annually. So what's he really doing here? Meeting your wife, apparently, but there's more. Archer pulled out another file. His company requires detailed travel logs, every client visit, every meeting, every business expense. And? Tuesday afternoons aren't documented anywhere. No client meetings, no business justification, no company reimbursement. He's paying his own way for these trips. I studied the travel records. Clear patterns emerged. Legitimate business visits clustered around month-end, with unexplained Tuesday visits scattered throughout. What about his finances? Interesting question. His salary is $90,000 annually plus commission. Wife doesn't work outside the home. 2 kids in private school, mortgage on a $400,000 house, car payments, the usual suburban overhead. Tight budget? Very tight. Which makes his hotel spending even more suspicious. He's dropping $600 twice monthly on unexplained travel. Maybe his wife knows. I doubt it. Jennifer Fallon's social media shows a woman completely focused on family activities, school events, soccer games, church functions. She posts constantly about what a devoted husband and father Cedric is. Archer handed me printouts of Jennifer's Facebook and Instagram accounts. Dozens of family photos, anniversary tributes, proud spouse commentary. She clearly adored her husband and trusted him completely. There's something else, Archer continued. Cedric's been liquidating investments, cashed out his 401k early, took penalties, sold stock options, emptied savings accounts. Why? Unknown, but he's converted about $40,000 to cash over the past year. Gambling? No casino activity on his credit cards. No online betting accounts. Drugs? Possible but unlikely. His company does random testing. Blackmail? Archer shrugged. Or he's funding something he doesn't want his wife to discover. I thought about the insurance fraud scheme. $28,000 paid out so far, but where was that money going? Isla's personal accounts showed normal activity, no unusual deposits or spending patterns. Can you track the insurance payments? Already did. The checks go to that business account at First National, then get transferred to a personal account in Hazel Trevon's name. All of it? Every penny. She's the money manager for this operation. That explained Hazel's monthly bank visits. She was collecting the fraud proceeds and managing distribution. But how much was she keeping versus sharing with Isla and Cedric? What about Hazel's finances? Now that's interesting. She makes $32,000 annually as a receptionist, lives in a modest apartment, drives a 10-year-old Honda. But her bank records show cash deposits totaling over $50,000 in the past 18 months. From the fraud? Partly. But she's got other income sources, multiple small business accounts, all with vague names, consulting services, document preparation, administrative support. She's running other scams. Looks that way. I found business registrations for at least 6 fictional medical practices, all with Hazel as the registered agent. This was bigger than I'd realized. Hazel wasn't just helping Isla commit fraud. She was operating a professional forgery and insurance scam network. How many people is she working with? Unknown. But the bank activity suggests at least a dozen clients over the past 2 years. And Isla? Appears to be a customer, not a partner. She's paying Hazel for services rendered. What kind of services? Document creation, account management, probably a percentage of the insurance payments. Hazel's running this like a business. I stared at the financial records, processing the implications. My wife wasn't just having an affair and committing insurance fraud. She was paying a professional criminal to facilitate both activities. There's one more thing, Archer said. Jennifer Fallon filed a missing person report last month. For Cedric? No, for their dog. Expensive purebred that disappeared from their backyard. But look at the date. He showed me the police report, filed on a Tuesday afternoon while Cedric was supposedly at our local Bellamy Hotel. His wife was dealing with a family crisis while he was with your wife. Nice guy. It gets worse. I spoke with the officer who responded. Jennifer was frantic, certain someone had taken the dog. Cedric couldn't be reached for 6 hours, and when he finally called her back, he said his phone hadn't worked because he was in meetings with no reception. But he was 20 minutes from their house. Exactly. I gathered the files and photographs, building my mental picture of the conspiracy. Isla and Cedric meeting regularly for 18 months. Hazel providing professional fraud services, insurance companies being systematically defrauded. Cedric's wife being lied to and financially manipulated. What's your next move? Archer asked. I want to observe them directly, see how they operate. Surveillance. Just watching, learning their patterns. Be careful, Kian. These people are committing serious crimes. If they realize you're onto them, they might do something desperate. Like what? Run. Destroy evidence. Blame you for their problems. I hadn't considered that possibility. Desperate people made unpredictable choices. How long before you have to file an official report? I can hold off another week, maybe 2. But eventually my supervisor will want to know why I'm sitting on federal crimes. Understood. I drove home through the rain, thinking about Jennifer Fallon searching for her missing dog, while her husband betrayed their marriage 20 minutes away. About Hazel building a criminal enterprise from her cluttered apartment. About Isla coming home every Tuesday with therapeutic insights from her fictional doctor. The house felt different now, contaminated by knowledge. Every room held memories of conversations built on lies. Every surface had been touched by hands that signed fraudulent documents. My phone rang. Isla. Hi, honey. Just wanted to let you know I'll be a little late tonight. Dr. Torvin had a cancellation and offered me an extra session. Today? I thought you only saw him on Tuesdays. Usually, yes, but he's concerned about some issues that came up yesterday. Wants to address them before they escalate. What kind of issues? Trust problems. He thinks I have difficulty being completely honest, even with people I love. The irony was staggering. That does sound concerning. He's recommending more frequent sessions for a while, maybe twice weekly. That's expensive. Our insurance covers it. And really, Kian, can you put a price on mental health? I suppose not. I should be home by 7. Maybe we can talk about planning that Vermont weekend. Looking forward to it. After she hung up, I sat in our kitchen and planned my next move. Tomorrow was Friday, dinner with the Hendersons, normal social obligations. But Tuesday would bring another therapy session, another hotel meeting, another fraudulent insurance claim. This time, I'd be watching. Friday evening with the Hendersons proceeded exactly as expected. Bill discussed his golf game while Susan complained about the neighborhood association's new landscaping requirements. Isla played the perfect hostess, charming and attentive, occasionally mentioning her therapy progress. It's amazing how much clearer everything becomes when you have professional guidance, she told Susan over dessert. Dr. Torvin has helped me understand patterns I never recognized. What kind of patterns? Susan asked. Communication issues mostly. Ways I unconsciously create emotional distance. Bill nodded knowingly. Susan and I tried counseling years ago. Very helpful. Did you see someone local? Isla inquired. Dr. Martinez downtown. Excellent therapist. Very insightful. I nearly choked on my wine. Dr. Rebecca Martinez was one of the fictional practitioners in Hazel's document collection. I don't think I know Dr. Martinez, Isla said carefully. She's wonderful. If you ever want a referral? Thank you, but I'm very happy with Dr. Torvin. The conversation moved on to other topics, but I caught Isla's subtle glance in my direction. She was wondering if I'd noticed the Martinez reference. After the Hendersons left, Isla was quiet while we cleaned up. Everything all right? I asked. Fine, just tired. Susan's therapist recommendations seemed to bother you. Not bother. I just don't like discussing my treatment with casual acquaintances. The Hendersons aren't casual acquaintances. We've known them for years. Still, therapy is private, of course. But her reaction confirmed my suspicions. Isla knew about Hazel's other fraud operations. She was probably worried about connections being made, questions being asked. Saturday and Sunday passed normally. Isla worked in her garden while I watched football. We had dinner at our usual restaurant, ran errands together, attended church on Sunday morning. Perfect suburban couple behavior. Monday evening, she mentioned her upcoming session. Dr. Torvin wants to try a new approach tomorrow. Longer sessions, more intensive work. How much longer? 3 hours instead of 90 minutes. He thinks extended sessions might produce breakthrough insights. 3 hours. Enough time for hotel room activities well beyond therapeutic conversation. That's quite a commitment. Worth it if it helps our marriage. Tuesday morning, I called in sick again and prepared for surveillance. Professional-grade binoculars, camera with telephoto lens, thermos of coffee, and patience. I positioned myself in the Bellamy Hotel parking lot at 1 p.m., parked behind a maintenance van with clear sight lines to both entrances. Isla arrived at 1:45, parking in her usual spot. She checked her appearance in the rearview mirror before entering through the side door. Cedric's BMW pulled in 10 minutes later. He carried a small overnight bag and moved with confident familiarity toward the lobby. I waited 30 minutes, then approached the front desk. "Excuse me," I said to the clerk, a bored-looking young man reading a paperback novel. "I'm supposed to meet my business partner here, but I can't remember his room number. Cedric Fallon." "I can't give out room numbers, sir." "Could you call him? Tell him Jim is here for the meeting?" The clerk dialed an extension. "Mr. Fallon? There's a Jim here to see you." "Oh, okay. I'll let him know." He hung up. "Mr. Fallon says he's not expecting anyone named Jim." "Must be a misunderstanding. What room is he in? I'll go up and sort this out." "I really can't give out room information." I slipped him $20. "I'm not a crazy ex-wife or anything, just a confused business associate." He pocketed the money. "Room 247. But if there's any trouble..." "No trouble, thanks." I didn't go to room 247. Instead, I returned to my car and waited. At 4:30, Isla emerged from the side entrance. Her hair was disheveled, lipstick gone, clothes slightly wrinkled. She looked satisfied, relaxed. Cedric followed 5 minutes later, also showing signs of recent activity. They didn't acknowledge each other in the parking lot, maintaining the pretense of strangers. But as Isla reached her car, she dropped something. Cedric immediately moved to help her retrieve it, a small piece of paper that had fallen from her purse. Their hands touched briefly as he returned it. She smiled, said something I couldn't hear, and drove away. I followed Cedric to a coffee shop downtown, where he met with an actual client for what appeared to be legitimate business. Professional conversation, product samples, signed paperwork. The contrast was striking. With his real client, Cedric was polished but reserved. With Isla, he'd been animated, intimate, completely different body language. That evening, Isla came home glowing with therapeutic insights. "Incredible session today," she announced. "Dr. Torvin tried some new techniques. Very effective." "What kind of techniques?" "Trust exercises. Ways to practice complete emotional honesty." "Sounds intense." It was, but I feel like I'm finally breaking through some barriers. "What kind of barriers?" "Fear of vulnerability. Dr. Torvin says I've been protecting myself by maintaining emotional distance, even from people I love." She moved closer, taking my hands. "I don't want distance between us anymore, Kian. I want complete honesty." The irony was overwhelming. She was talking about honesty while describing her hotel affair in therapeutic terms. "I want that too," I said. "Dr. Torvin thinks we should plan that Vermont weekend soon. Practice applying these new insights to our relationship." "When were you thinking?" "Next month. He says timing is important, strike while the momentum is strong. Makes sense. That night, she was again particularly affectionate, but this time, I noticed details I'd missed before. Faint cologne that wasn't mine, a small bruise on her shoulder, the way she moved, like someone recently satisfied by physical attention. Wednesday morning, I called Archer. I need to accelerate the timeline, I told him. What happened? They're getting more brazen, longer sessions, more elaborate lies. I think they're planning something. Like what? Maybe expanding the fraud, maybe running away together. I'm not sure, but the pattern is escalating. How do you want to handle it? I want to confront them, all of them, together. That's dangerous, Kian. Not violently. I want them to confess, admit what they've done, explain why they did it. And then? Then I hand you a complete case with voluntary confessions. Archer was quiet for several minutes. You'll need leverage, something that forces them to talk instead of running. I'm working on that. What kind of leverage? The kind that makes running impossible. Kian, trust me, Archer. I know what I'm doing. But as I hung up, I realized I wasn't entirely sure that was true. Wednesday afternoon, I drove to Cedric's neighborhood in Oakwood Heights. The subdivision was newer than ours, with larger lots and more expensive houses. His home was a colonial with professional landscaping and a 3-car garage. I parked down the street and waited. At 3:15, a school bus stopped in front of the house. 2 teenagers got off, Emma and Tyler Fallon, returning from their private academy. They looked like typical suburban kids, backpacks heavy with homework, talking about after-school activities. Jennifer Fallon met them at the door, an attractive woman in her early 40s wearing yoga clothes and a genuine smile. She hugged both kids and ushered them inside. This was Cedric's real life, the family he was betraying twice weekly for hotel encounters with my wife. I drove to Jennifer's gym, following information from Archer's background check. She attended a 5:00 p.m. yoga class every Tuesday and Thursday. The instructor was a young woman named Kelly, who recognized Jennifer's description immediately. Oh yes, Jennifer's one of our most dedicated students. Never misses a class unless there's a family emergency. Family emergency? Like last month when their dog went missing. She was so upset, couldn't concentrate on anything. Her husband was traveling, so she had to handle everything alone. That must have been difficult, especially since it happened right during her usual class time. She spent hours driving around the neighborhood, posting flyers, calling animal shelters. While Jennifer was searching for their missing dog, Cedric was in room 247 at the Bellamy Hotel with my wife. Did they ever find the dog? No, and she's still heartbroken about it. Such a sweet woman. She deserves better. I agreed completely. Thursday morning, I visited Hazel's law firm. The receptionist confirmed that Hazel had been out sick the previous Tuesday, the same day Isla had her extended session. She's been taking a lot of sick days lately, the receptionist confided. Personal issues, I think. But she's such a hard worker normally, nobody complains. Personal issues like managing a criminal fraud network. I spent the afternoon researching Hazel's other victims. The fake medical practices in her files corresponded to insurance claims from at least 8 different people. Teachers, accountants, small business owners, all apparently paying Hazel to create fictional therapy relationships. The scope was staggering. Hazel had built an entire criminal enterprise around insurance fraud, with dozens of fake providers and hundreds of fraudulent claims. But she'd made one critical mistake. All the business bank accounts used the same IP address for online access: her home computer. Thursday evening, I implemented my plan. First, I created anonymous email accounts and gathered contact information for all the relevant parties. Jennifer Fallon's personal email, Cedric's work address, Isla's supervisor at Consolidated Benefits, the insurance company's fraud hotline. Then I drafted messages. Not accusations or threats, just questions that would prompt investigation. To Jennifer. I saw your husband at the Bellamy Hotel last Tuesday afternoon with a blonde woman. Thought you should know. To Cedric's supervisor. Your employee, Cedric Fallon, has been filing false expense reports. His Tuesday meetings don't exist. To Isla's boss. One of your employees is submitting fraudulent insurance claims for fake therapy sessions. To the insurance company. Dr. Marcus Torvin doesn't exist. The claims are fake. I didn't send them yet, but they were ready. Friday evening, Isla announced another scheduling change. Dr. Torvin wants to try weekend sessions. He thinks my work stress is interfering with therapeutic progress. Weekend sessions? Saturday afternoon, just this once to test the approach. That's unusual. He's very innovative, willing to adapt his methods to patient needs. Saturday afternoon meant Cedric could visit without using vacation time or creating suspicious travel records. Jennifer would think he was playing golf or running errands. What time Saturday? 2 to 5. Same duration as Tuesday's extended session. And you think this will help? Dr. Torvin is confident. He says breakthrough moments often happen when we break routine patterns. Breakthrough moments. That was certainly accurate. Saturday morning, I positioned myself at the Bellamy Hotel again, but this time, I wasn't alone. Archer had agreed to provide backup, though he wasn't entirely comfortable with my plan. You're sure about this? He asked over our radio link. Completely sure. And you won't do anything that compromises the legal case? Nothing illegal, nothing violent, just conversation. At 1:45, Isla arrived as expected. At 2 graus, Cedric pulled into the parking lot. I waited until they were both inside, then approached the front desk. I need to speak with the manager, I told the clerk. Is there a problem? Insurance fraud investigation, official business. The manager was a middle-aged woman named Patricia, who'd clearly dealt with law enforcement before. What kind of insurance fraud? I showed her my adjuster credentials and explained the situation. Fake therapy claims, fraudulent billing, systematic deception. Room 247 is registered to Cedric Fallon, she confirmed after checking her computer. He's been a regular customer for about 18 months. Always pays cash, always requests the same room. What about his companion? Never registers, arrives separately, leaves separately. We assumed it was an affair, but we don't police our guests' personal lives. I need to speak with them. I can't authorize that without a warrant. What if they agreed to meet voluntarily? That would be different. I called room 247 from the lobby phone. Cedric answered on the third ring, sounding annoyed. What? Mr. Fallon, this is Kian Merrin, Isla's husband. I'm in the lobby and I think we should talk. Long silence. I don't know what you're talking about. Room 247, Bellamy Hotel, every Tuesday for 18 months. Dr. Marcus Torvin's therapy sessions. Should I continue? Another silence. What do you want? Conversation, 5 minutes of honesty. And if I refuse? Then I make some phone calls. Your wife, your employer, the FBI. Your choice. Give me 10 minutes. 5 minutes, then I start dialing. He hung up. Exactly 4 minutes later, Cedric emerged from the elevator. He was dressed but disheveled, clearly shaken. Where's Isla? I asked. Getting dressed. Tell her to join us. She's scared. She should be. Isla appeared 2 minutes later, pale and trembling. She couldn't meet my eyes. Let's sit down, I said, gesturing toward the lobby seating area. Here? Cedric asked. Here, public place, witnesses around. Nobody gets dramatic. We sat in a circle of chairs near the windows. Isla stared at her hands. Cedric kept checking his phone. 18 months, I began. 72 Tuesday afternoons, $28,800 in fraudulent insurance claims. How am I doing so far? Neither answered. Dr. Marcus Torvin doesn't exist, I continued. The license number is fake. The office address is a mailbox store. The therapy sessions are hotel encounters. Kian, Isla started. I'm not finished. Hazel Trevon created the fake credentials, manages the bank accounts, and runs similar scams for at least 8 other people. This isn't just an affair, it's organized crime. Cedric found his voice. What do you want? Answers, starting with why. It just happened, Isla said quietly. 18 months of systematic fraud just happened? The affair just happened. The insurance thing was practical. Practical? Hotels are expensive. Cedric's wife monitors their credit cards. So, you decided to commit federal crimes instead of paying for your own adultery? We didn't think of it as criminal, Cedric said. Just creative financing. Creative financing. That's what you call defrauding insurance companies? Nobody got hurt, Isla protested. Your insurance premiums go up when companies lose money to fraud. My premiums. Everyone's premiums. We were going to pay it back. When? Eventually. I pulled out my phone. I'm going to make those calls now. Wait, Cedric said. What if we confess? Admit everything, pay restitution? To who? The insurance company, your wife, anyone who was hurt. What about your wife, Cedric? What about Jennifer, who spent last month searching for your missing dog while you were here with Isla? His face went white. How do you know about that? I know everything. The question is what you're going to do about it. We'll end it, Isla said. Stop the sessions, pay back the money, never see each other again. Too late for that. Then what do you want? I looked at both of them, these two people who'd systematically betrayed their families and committed federal crimes for the convenience of conducting an affair. I want you to tell the truth, to everyone, completely. What kind of truth? Your spouses, your employers, your families. I want them to know exactly what you've been doing and why. That would ruin everything, Cedric said. Everything's already ruined. The question is whether you control the narrative or I do. I stood up. You have until Monday morning to decide. Full confession to everyone involved, or I release everything to the authorities. And if we confess? Then maybe you avoid federal prison. Maybe your families forgive you. Maybe you rebuild some kind of life. And if we don't? I smiled. Then Tuesday's session with Dr. Marcus Torvin will be your last. Monday morning arrived with the first snow of the season, coating our suburban neighborhood in deceptive purity. Isla had barely spoken since Saturday's confrontation, moving through the house like a ghost. She left for work without her usual goodbye kiss, and I knew the day of reckoning had arrived. At 10:40 a.m., my phone rang. Cedric. We need to talk, he said. I'm listening. Not on the phone. Can you meet us? Where? Hazel's apartment. She's part of this too. What time? Noon. And Kian? We're ready to tell the truth. I arrived at Hazel's complex to find all 3 of them waiting in the parking lot. They looked like defendants approaching a sentencing hearing, pale, nervous, defeated. Let's go inside, Hazel said. She'd been crying. Her apartment was messier than before, with boxes scattered around the living room. She was packing. Going somewhere? I asked. I was, before you showed up. Where? Anywhere. Mexico, maybe. Start over. With stolen money? With what I earned. I sat down on her couch. Tell me how this started. Hazel poured herself a large glass of wine despite the early hour. Isla came to me 2 years ago. She was having marriage problems, needed someone to talk to. And? She mentioned how expensive therapy was, how insurance companies made it difficult to get coverage. I joked about creating a fake therapist, billing insurance directly. That was a joke? At first, but then she met Cedric at that conference, and suddenly it wasn't funny anymore. Isla spoke up. We needed somewhere private to meet. Hotels were too expensive, and Cedric couldn't use company credit cards for personal expenses. So, you decided to commit fraud. Hazel made it sound simple, Cedric said. A few fake documents, some insurance paperwork. Nobody gets hurt. except the insurance companies, and the other people paying higher premiums because of fraud. We didn't think about that, Isla admitted. What about Hazel's other clients? Hazel finished her wine and poured another. That came later. Word gets around. People have problems, need solutions. What kind of problems? Marriages, mostly. Affairs are expensive. So you built a business around insurance fraud. I provided a service, discretion, document preparation, financial management, criminal services, gray area services. I looked around the apartment, taking in the packed boxes and desperate atmosphere. What changed your mind about running? Cedric's wife called this morning, Hazel said. Someone sent her photos of him entering this hotel. She's hiring a divorce lawyer. What photos? Cedric pulled out his phone and showed me an email. Security camera images from the Bellamy Hotel, clearly showing him and Isla together. Who sent these? Anonymous email account, but the message was clear. More photos would be released unless we came clean. I hadn't sent any photos. Someone else was watching. There's more, Isla said. She showed me her phone. My supervisor received an anonymous tip about fraudulent insurance claims. I'm suspended pending investigation. And my sales manager got a call about false expense reports, Cedric added. I'm under internal review. Someone had implemented my plan before I could, but who? Did you recognize the email address? No, but the photos were professional quality. Telephoto lens, multiple angles. Someone's been conducting serious surveillance. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Check your email. I opened my email app and found a message from Truth-Teller 2023 with the subject line, Your Wife's Therapy Sessions. The email contained dozens of photos. Isla and Cedric entering the hotel, Hazel making bank deposits, insurance documents being forged, a complete photographic record of their criminal conspiracy. But the final photo made me freeze. It showed me, sitting in my car outside the Bellamy Hotel, conducting my own surveillance. Someone's been watching all of us, I said. Who? Isla asked. I don't know, but they have evidence of everything. My phone rang. Unknown number. Answer it, Hazel said. Maybe they'll explain what they want. I put the phone on speaker. Hello? Hello, Kian. The voice was electronically distorted, impossible to identify. Enjoying the photos? Who is this? Someone who's been watching your little drama unfold. Very entertaining. What do you want? Justice. Truth. Consequences for actions. Are you law enforcement? I'm someone who believes in accountability. What kind of accountability? The public kind. Your wife and her friends have been stealing money, lying to families, destroying lives. Time for everyone to know the truth. And if they confess? Confession is just the beginning. Full restitution, public apology, complete transparency. Or what? Or these photos go to every news outlet in the city. Local television, newspapers, social media. Your wife's fraud becomes a public scandal. Isla went white. You can't do that. Watch me. Unless you prefer federal prison. What exactly do you want us to do? Cedric asked. Simple. Public confession. Full details. Names, amounts, timeline. Everything. Where? I'll be in touch with location and time. Don't disappoint me. We sat in silence for several minutes, processing the implications. Who could it be? Isla finally asked. Someone with resources, I said. Professional equipment, technical skills, detailed knowledge of your activities. Another insurance investigator? Cedric suggested. Maybe, or someone personally affected by your fraud. What do you mean? Hazel asked. Insurance fraud raises premiums for everyone. Maybe someone got tired of paying for your hotel bills. My phone buzzed again. Another text. Wednesday, 7 p.m., City Hall steps. Come prepared to tell the truth. 3 days, I said. What if we refuse? Isla asked. Then our anonymous friend releases everything. Photos, documents, financial records. Your fraud becomes front-page news. At least in prison we'd have privacy, Cedric muttered. Would you? I asked. Federal fraud cases are public record. Court documents, sentencing hearings, victim impact statements. Nothing stays private. So we're trapped either way. You trapped yourselves. This person is just forcing you to face consequences. Hazel stood up abruptly. I need air. This is insane. What's insane is thinking you could steal $30,000 without anyone noticing, I said. We were careful. You were obvious. Hotel receipts, bank deposits, forged documents. You left a trail a child could follow. Then why didn't you turn us in immediately? Because I wanted to understand why. How three supposedly intelligent people could make such catastrophically stupid choices. And now you know? Now I know you're selfish, entitled, and completely disconnected from reality. Isla started crying. I never meant for it to go this far. What did you mean? I just wanted to feel alive again. Our marriage was stale, routine. Cedric made me feel desirable. So you committed federal crimes to fund your midlife crisis. When you put it like that, that's exactly what it is. You risked our house, our finances, our daughter's future, so you could play house with a married pharmaceutical salesman. It wasn't playing house, Cedric protested. We have real feelings for each other. Built on lies and stolen money. The feelings are genuine. The relationship is criminal. My phone rang again. Archer. Kian, where are you? I just got a call from my supervisor. Someone sent our office a complete fraud case file. Photos, documents, financial records, everything. Anonymous? Completely, but professional quality. Whoever compiled this knows what they're doing. What happens now? Official investigation starts immediately. FBI, postal inspectors, the works. These people are going to be arrested within days. I looked at Isla, Cedric, and Hazel. They'd heard every word. Looks like your decision just got easier, I told them. What do you mean? Isla asked. Confess publicly Wednesday night, or get arrested Thursday morning? Either way, the truth comes out. Some choice. You made your choice 18 months ago. This is just consequences. I stood to leave. Wednesday, 7 p.m., City Hall steps. Be ready to tell the complete truth. What if we run? Hazel asked. With what money? Your accounts are probably frozen by now. We could disappear. 3 amateur criminals with no cash and federal agents looking for them? Good luck. I walked toward the door, then turned back. Oh, and Isla? Pack a bag. You won't be coming home Wednesday night. Where will I go? That's your problem now. I left them sitting in Hazel's apartment, facing the wreckage of their criminal conspiracy and the imminent collapse of their lives. Wednesday couldn't come soon enough. Wednesday evening arrived cold and clear, with television news trucks already positioned around City Hall by 6:30 p.m. Word had somehow leaked about the upcoming confession, drawing reporters and curious residents to the downtown square. I arrived early and positioned myself near the back of the growing crowd. Archer stood beside me, along with 2 FBI agents who'd introduced themselves as Special Agents Morrison and Chen. Your anonymous tipster did excellent work, Agent Morrison said. Complete case file, admissible evidence, clear timeline. Saved us months of investigation. Any idea who it was? None, but they knew what they were doing. Professional-grade surveillance, proper documentation, legal evidence collection. At 6:55, Isla, Cedric, and Hazel approached the steps. They looked like condemned prisoners walking to execution, pale, shaken, defeated. A small podium had been set up with a microphone. Local news cameras focused on the trio as they climbed the steps. Isla reached the microphone first. Her voice shook as she began. My name is Isla Merrin. I work for Consolidated Benefits, and I live at 1247 Millbrook Drive. I'm here to confess to insurance fraud, conspiracy, and adultery. The crowd murmured. Cameras flashed. 18 months ago, I began an affair with Cedric Fallon. To fund our hotel meetings, we created a fake therapist named Dr. Marcus Torvin and submitted fraudulent insurance claims. Her voice grew stronger as she continued. We stole $28,800 from Midwest Mutual Insurance. We lied to our families, our employers, and federal agencies. We committed multiple felonies for the convenience of conducting an extramarital affair. Cedric stepped forward next. I'm Cedric Fallon, pharmaceutical sales representative for Meridian Dynamics. Everything Isla said is true. I participated willingly in this fraud scheme. His voice cracked slightly. I betrayed my wife Jennifer and my children Emma and Tyler. I used company time and resources to meet my lover. I filed false expense reports and lied to my supervisors. Hazel was last, barely audible at first. I'm Hazel Trevon. I created the fake documents that made this fraud possible. I forged credentials, opened bank accounts, and managed the stolen money. She paused, gathering courage. This wasn't my only fraud operation. I've been creating fake medical practices and facilitating insurance scams for over 2 years. I estimate total losses at over $200,000. The crowd was silent now, absorbing the magnitude of the confessions. We're prepared to make full restitution, Isla continued. We'll cooperate with law enforcement and accept whatever punishment the courts determine. We have no excuses, Cedric added. We made selfish, criminal choices and destroyed our families in the process. We're sorry, Hazel concluded, to the insurance companies, to our families, to everyone who trusted us. Agent Morrison stepped forward. Isla Merrin, Cedric Fallon, and Hazel Trevon, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud, wire fraud, and mail fraud. The arrests proceeded smoothly. All three had clearly accepted their fate. As the FBI vehicles drove away, I noticed a figure standing across the square. Medium height, dark clothing, watching the proceedings through professional-grade binoculars. Our anonymous tipster, perhaps. I started walking in that direction, but the figure disappeared into the shadows between buildings. My phone buzzed with a text from the same unknown number. Justice served, truth revealed, consequences delivered. I typed back, "Who are you?" The response came immediately. Someone who believes actions have consequences. Why did you help me? I didn't help you. I helped justice. Will I see you again? Probably not. My work here is finished. I stared at the phone, but no more messages came. Archer approached. How do you feel? Empty, relieved, angry, all at once. That's normal. Your entire life just changed. For the better, I think. Definitely for the better. You deserve honesty. What happens now? Federal prosecution. They'll probably plead guilty, get reduced sentences in exchange for cooperation. Hazel will serve the most time. She was running the operation. And restitution? They'll pay back what they can, but most of their assets will be seized. You might recover 60% of your losses. Better than nothing. Much better than continued lies. We walked toward our cars as the news crews packed up their equipment. Archer, thanks for your help. That's what brothers are for. Even when it involves destroying my marriage? Your marriage was already destroyed. I just helped you see it. He was right. The marriage had ended the moment Isla decided to commit federal crimes to fund her affair. Everything since then had been elaborate pretense. I drove home through our quiet neighborhood, past houses where normal families lived, normal lives built on normal foundations of trust and honesty. The house felt different now, lighter somehow, despite being empty. I walked through rooms that no longer held secrets, touched surfaces that were no longer contaminated by lies. My phone rang. Sophie. Dad? I just saw the news. Is Mom really... Yes. I can't believe it. She always seemed so ethical, so responsible. People aren't always what they seem. Are you okay? I will be. Do you need me to come home? No, sweetheart. Finish your semester. I'll be fine. I'm so sorry, Dad, about everything. Not your fault. Not even close. What happens now? Now I figure out what comes next. Will you divorce her? Already filed the papers. Good. You deserve better. After we hung up, I sat in my kitchen and considered the future. Divorce proceedings, financial recovery, rebuilding a life based on truth instead of deception. It wouldn't be easy, but it would be honest. My phone buzzed one final time. Another message from our mysterious benefactor. Truth is a powerful disinfectant. Use it wisely. I smiled and deleted the message. Outside, snow began falling again, covering the last traces of a very long day. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but they would be honest challenges, faced with clear vision and clean conscience. For the first time in 18 months, I slept peacefully. The therapy sessions were finally over.